Yes, it is indeed. Finally, Friday. Good morning. It is Mornings at Meridian, about 12 minutes into the 7 o'clock hour as we kick off the first hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. Who are we? I am Rob. Happy Friday morning to you here on this 15th day of December. And joining me this morning, he is here. Usually you hear him on Monday nights on mixtapes from 7 until 9 on our sister station, 97.9 The Buzz. But he is here for a fun Friday. It's PT, Paul Tarver.
What's up, y'all? It's Paul.
What's going on, my friend?
You know, it's Friday, and I'm used to working at night.
This is a different 7 to 9.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't complain because I used to come in at 6 and I'd complain about the fact that, we should change the clocks so that 6 a.m. came a little later in the morning. And so now we start at 7. I really shouldn't. I shouldn't complain. I should be very happy.
Got a lot to get into here on a fun Friday. Open phone line Friday as well. If you folks want to give us a shout, whatever's on your mind, 601-485-9191. And I think here on a fun Friday, we're going to kind of continue what we started yesterday with the Fantasy League.
That would be fun.
Of City of Meridian politics. Who would be your dream mayor, city council members, police chief? I don't know how we got started. It was probably my rant that I went on yesterday, and that just kind of turned into something
every time I
else.
start a rant, it ends up, getting back to me. So here you are.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I always get concerned when I go to my vehicle. No, I'm just kidding.
The cool thing about a fantasy, city lineup. I was trying to say fantasy football field, but that's not what I'm talking about. But the point is that you can put anybody in any position, and it's fun to think about that person doing that job.
Sure.
That like yesterday, I was suggesting Joe. From Chunky doing the public relations
the PR
stuff.
person, yeah,
because she would give them a hard time, and then end every one of her meetings with, I love y'all.
Because the press conference would always start before the mayor or whoever gets up to speak. It's like, hi y'all, or hi you. So
it would be fun. That would be I'd actually tune in to see the PR, announcements then.
It'd probably get a whole lot more out of them, probably.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
You got to be energetic.
That's right. 601-485-9191 is our number. Of course, we're everywhere online this morning, WALTmeridian.com. If you want to listen to the audio stream, you can also watch us over at WALT Talk Radio on Facebook. We are on YouTube, got a WALT Meridian YouTube page, and we're even on X. You can look us up right there on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, I call that the social media industry that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, formerly known as Twitter.
Formerly known as. I've got a Twitter account for mixtapes, but yeah, I'm not sure I know how to Twitter yet.
Don't know how to do the whole tweet.
Well, I mean, you'd think as a tech guy, I could. It's like by the time I do the Facebook. Mm-hmm. And then I do the email notifications out of my website, and I get to Twitter, and I'm like, I'm tired.
You're tired.
I'm ready to move on to something else.
Got to figure out a way to link them all together somehow, some way. So.
Yeah, well, I need help, so maybe I need some digital assistance. What do you think?
Digital assistance, I like it.
So here's the thing. While we're doing today's show, and we are doing the fantasy thing as well, I got a poll I'd like to take.
Take a poll, straw poll.
It's a straw poll because I want to find out if everybody is already in the Christmas spirit, they're working toward being in the Christmas spirit, or they're just lost, just still trying to figure it out. So I want to know where everybody's at, mainly because I'm trying to figure out if I'm really the Grinch or if I'm just delayed in my I'm getting there, but I ain't there yet.
I'll be honest, it takes me. I know everybody's like, well, when did you put the Christmas tree up? When you put the decorations up? I put our decorations up. It was that weekend after Thanksgiving.
I thought you was going to say after Halloween.
No, God, no. We are not like that. So, I wait a little while. Now, as far as like getting into like wanting to hear a little bit of Christmas music and kind of getting that, it takes me probably 3 weeks before Christmas, maybe. So I'm kind of there already. So.
Well, my deal is a lot of times because of the work I do, my real job, we got a lot of people that's trying to do their end of the year stuff.
Sure.
All this stuff. So everybody's trying to clear their desk so they can have a good holiday. So they dump it on my desk. So it's very stressful for me. The moment that it usually kicks in for me is when we finish loading the car to take the trip.
Take the big trip.
And I start driving, and every mile I get further away.
Oh, yeah.
You just feel the tension release.
Sure.
Because, at some point you reach a point where you you have to let it go.
Well, and this year too, with Christmas being on a Monday,
It's
this
weird,
year,
isn't it?
you know, it's going to be a little strange. I know some folks are going to do the whole Monday Tuesday thing, and other folks are going to take the whole week off because then you got New Year's rolling around right after that. So, but I know we did get an email from Donna Jill Johnson about the county courthouse. They didn't want to pass that along since we're talking about days off and stuff like that. Don't forget county courthouse by order of the governor of Mississippi. Will not just be closed on holidays, but they will also be taking the Tuesday after Christmas as well. So if you got any business, well, I say at the government complex, I should say. So.
And they're doing that. They're doing that for both Christmas and New Year's, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah. So just bear that in mind as we go ahead.
Keep that in mind. Pay your fines early.
Pay your fines, because the first of the year is rolling around. So.
Right.
And then I got to pay my $168 in my garbage fee.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're business, you got your ad valorem tax coming around, and you know
that too. Yeah,
you know, all that kind of fun stuff. So
tis the season.
Tis the season.
Exactly.
Speaking of seasons, tis the seasonal allergy time too. So if I sound a little in a well, let me tell you, I've been in Mississippi my whole life, but when we have several of those spells where we have 29-degree weather at night and 70 degrees at noon.
Yeah.
It just, oh, man.
Well, speaking of weather, it's going to get up into the mid-60s today, and it looks like we do have some rain, unfortunately, coming back to us tomorrow. I know that's going to kind of mess up a few plans. I know folks want to get out there and try to bag a big buck tomorrow out in the fields or whatever. But, yeah, a good bit of rain moving in tomorrow, and then after that, back down below freezing again. So,
well, I've got my allergy meds in place, so I'm in good shape.
Vitamin C. Take a lot of vitamin C.
I do take vitamin C with my regular daily vitamin, but
do you? Okay.
Yeah, the one I have to take. This frustrates people is that
we're talking about vitamins here on Friday morning.
But it frustrates people. You know, the only prescribed medicine that I have to take every day is vitamin D.
Okay.
Yeah. They want me to take a little vitamin D.
Yeah.
But,
Makes sense.
But yeah, include that with a nice little vitamin every day, and you should be good.
There you go.
But anyway, now that we have my health out of the way,
we checked all the boxes.
We checked all the boxes. We checked on weather. Let's see, what else have we got to talk about? We talked a little bit about Christmas spirit. So yeah, I want to find out if people have it or on the way. They feel like they're making moves toward Christmas, and really and truly is, you know, a lot of times, like I said, I don't really hit it until I start that journey.
That journey going up
going
north.
home. Yeah. When, you know, and that, of course, that's in my marriage contract. I have to have my wife home for Christmas.
That's part of the
year.
Contract. Yeah.
And so, you know, got that on the table. So. Anywho, but usually about that time is when the heavy lifting is done, the car's loaded, you know, got some snacks by my side, you know, puppy dog on the armrest, and we're ready to just
venture on.
When you get 2 blocks down, you go, I forgot, never mind.
Just keep on going.
Just go.
Just go. So 485-9191, folks, we'd love to hear from you here on this fun Friday. And also a big thanks to one of our fantastic sponsors. You know what would be a great gift if you want to be a big hero at the house? How about a new Toyota under the carport for Christmas morning? Oh, that'd be nice. And you can go get it at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and you got a lot of choices, too. They got Camrys and Tacomas and 4Runners and Tundras, and they got a pre-owned selection that offers everything from beginner's cars all the way to top line luxury. They got it all, whether it's new or used. They have a great service department. They can service all of your automobile needs right there at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia. If you've never been by there, that lot is huge, and it absolutely glows like a jewel at night. If you come through there at nighttime, you cannot miss it. Doc's Toyota is right there on the hill, and quite frankly, there is no deal like a Doc's deal. You can get in touch with them at 601-600-3786. They're open for sales Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 6 p.m., and on Saturday, they're there from 9 a.m. to 3:30. The service department is open also during that time frame, but they open a little bit earlier. They're open at 7:30, so they're fixing to actually raise the doors, garage doors, and start helping folks this morning. And they would love for you to come by and check them out. And if you can't come by, at least go to docstoyota.com and check them out online and see what their inventory looks like. Give them a try. There is no deal like a Doc's deal.
Absolutely. Appreciate Doc's up in Philadelphia. 7:21 here at Mornings in Meridian. I know, Paul, you got an opportunity yesterday to go down to the government complex there at the boardroom for the retirement celebration for Sheriff Solly. And, boy, what a fantastic turnout it was yesterday.
Yeah, that was a room full of people. And a room full of people, and you go, I know you. Oh, I know you. Oh, I know you.
It's like a homecoming.
It was kind of like homecoming because you meet these people in your day-to-day activities and what have you. And then you don't see each other for a long time, and then you have an event like this. And you get to see. I ran into Mayor Jimmy Smith and spoke with him, and
he's not happy with me probably.
Well,
I went off on him.
I don't think he's going to call in on our dream we're working on.
I'll be you folks. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know I went on a little bit of a rant yesterday about the city, and people were texting me after, "You okay?" I was like, "I'm fine." I like Jimmy. I've known Jimmy for a long time. Yeah. It's just, it's part of the slings and arrows of the show and the local politics.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you take on the job, you're opening yourself up to be examined good and bad.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw a lot of familiar faces and got to visit for a few minutes with Billy Solly and his wife Diane, and I asked her if she was ready to take on the job of chief of police in Meridian.
You did?
I did.
No.
Well, a good journalist has always got to be prepared.
That's right.
There was a bit of an eye roll.
I was about to say, what kind of a look did you get?
Yeah, there was a bit of an eye roll. Is pretty much the answer that I got, but yeah, it was a super great moment, and so I got to speak with Solly for. Shake his hand, thank him for all he's done, and then walk a few steps over and shake Ward's hand. So I figured I could hit both things at both times. You get to say congratulations to Sheriff Solly, and you get to suck up to the new guy.
That's right. Suck up to the new guy. Baldy.
Yeah, worked. Well, you can say that.
You darn right I can.
There you go.
So, but I will say this: I missed it yesterday. I had a doctor's appointment in the afternoon. I just couldn't swing by there, but looks like it was a fantastic event, and gave the public an opportunity to send off one of the best. And I tell you, Sheriff Solly. I know he might be listening this morning, Sheriff. I can't say thank you enough. And I know he always talks about the team down at the Sheriff's Department. But I tell you what, to make that team roll, you got to have a fantastic leader. And that's what we have here in Lauderdale County. And you know what? I think that tradition is going to be carried on with the next leader, and that being Ward Calhoun. So, but I know the sheriff thanks everybody for coming by to see him yesterday and wishing him well in his last few days here.
I can't imagine standing there and just and being surrounded by all that attention. It's got to be overwhelming. Yeah. So pretty cool.
And Sheriff Solly, we've known him for a long time. He's as humble as they get, and that was just a great turnout yesterday. Really proud of the folks here in Lauderdale County.
I pressed him hard and told him that his invite to be on Mixtapes for a Deserted Island show is still open.
Happen.
I know. I just keep trying to encourage him. So
be a ratings bonanza.
It would help me out a lot. So
there you go. Let's go to the phone line this morning. First call here on a fun Friday. Hey, caller, welcome in.
I'm hoping Solid has a good life after he retires.
Yes, sir.
But don't forget, when they had a big party for Solid, the good people in Meridian, they also probably, more likely, and I know they do, was having a big parties in the beer joint, so he's leaving. Hey, Solid's gone. They won't arrest me no more.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Well.
Like that.
Yeah, well.
They have them all over these old bad places around Meridian, but I hope the new one coming in, the Ward Calhoun, I hope he lasts as long as Solid. Solid was in good health.
Right.
Solid's the kind of person nobody messes screw with because, man, a guy, when you were just playing with him, my brother graduated in the same, I started out with him in the same academy and everything, but when you kind of played it Solid, which I had too much of a habit of doing that because in church you pat people on the back, and like that. Solid was like a piece of iron, like a brick.
Yeah.
He just stayed in good shape, so I hope this new one coming in. He looks kind of sickly, like I hope it.
Oh God!
I hope he lasts as long as Solid does and does as good of a job.
I don't think you got anything to worry about.
I think we're gonna be okay.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not. He's looking kind of poorly, but anyway, I just like to say one thing. I'm glad the mayor did all these roads. He'll be mayor again, no doubt. He's paving everything can be paved. Nobody else did that.
Well, if we can just figure out the policing issue, I think he'll be doing good.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I know I drag this in the ground. One thing it needs to do, another thing that needs to be done, the no other mayor did. Now, we put on the 45th Avenue, we put it called a super hypersonic curve on 45th Avenue. It's a curve like in the racetrack because it takes well, anyway, it's called a hypersonic curve on 45th, the one that knows about it. But this new mayor could be the mayor of the century if he would just take on 5th Street. And I've complained about it for years because I've raked and took out a telephone pole down there myself. A lot of people have more wrecks on that S curve down there on 5th Street. It's called the S curve. It's nothing but a. And for years they told us we can't do that with that S curve because there's houses. Same old stupid stuff that you hear from people that don't have much education. That houses on that road. Well, guess what? Every house on that road now around that S curve is empty. It's not there no more. So it'd be a great time to take that S curve out and make the city look like a regular city, because originally DOT recommended that to be 4 lanes and 8th Street 5 lanes.
Well, you said you are.
Mayor, what's the old mayor to put Shawashi in Kemp?
Yeah, Jimmy Kemp.
Thought about doing the 4 lane parallel with 8th Street. So at least if you ain't gonna do nothing, take that curve out that is hurt more people and let the city look good. Their excuse is, well, they'll get on to make a racetrack out of it. Well, you give them enough tickets they want. So if you're out there, Jimmy, I know they listen to this channel. I know they do. So think about it. If you do it, you're going to really be the man then. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. There we go.
I forgot to ask him if he was in the Christmas spirit.
You did. You forgot that.
Well, I was so wrapped up.
If you get that curve fixed, he's going to be more than in the Christmas spirit.
He'll be in the Christmas spirit. Well, he's already taken out the telephone pole. They only got to just straighten it out a little bit.
And evidently, we got to feed Ward.
Yeah.
You don't want to touch that one.
That was funny.
That was good. That was good. So, but
I don't care who you are.
So if you're in the beer joint, Solly's going away. So there you go. I love it.
Well, but I got to tell you,
I love that. I love that gentleman. He's great.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Good deal.
I'm not sure I would say that Ward was sickly though. I don't think that's a problem.
I'm not going to say anything bad about the incoming chief law enforcement officer of Lauderdale County.
I got to tell you, that was a bold move on his part. Let's see how that works out for him.
I was about to say Ward's going to call us up during the break. Can I have that gentleman's phone number, please? And we'll look up his address.
Let me explain how sickly I am.
Exactly. Good Lord. Folks, you never know what's going to happen on a fun Friday. So
that was funny.
601-485-9191 is our number. We got to take a commercial break and pay off the bill so we can keep everything rolling. Got your money now and a dose of Fox News and more of your phone calls after this on a fun Friday. I'm Rob and he is Paul. Are you in the Christmas spirit?
We don't know.
We don't know. 485-9191. We'll be back. Yeah, folks, I know it's said over and over again. You've heard it a million times, but always remember what the reason for this Christmas season is.
Absolutely.
So a little Trans-Siberian Orchestra, one of my personal favorites, and now I'm excited because you're going to play that Monday night on Mixtapes with Paul Tarver.
Well, I don't know if that particular one, but I've got several lined up. I'm going to do a whole segment of Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be back to back to back.
Yes.
But, you got to play songs. When you're doing a Christmas show, you got to play stuff like, you got to have some Merle Haggard if we make it through December.
Yes.
And you got to have some Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Mad Russian's Christmas. You got to have, you got to have a lot of cool stuff, and it's always hard for me because at Christmas time, when I first started doing the show, I was doing the first Christmas. I did the goofy stuff,
Yeah.
I want to.
Well, you gotta kind of
hippopotamus for Christmas.
test the
that
waters
kind of
and see where you're at. Yeah.
And then I found that I don't want to repeat myself, and so
Sure.
every year trying to come up with something fresh that's fresh. But there's a lot of good music out there for Christmas that if you scratch the surface, you don't have to listen to what everybody's playing on every music system in the world.
Sure.
There's a lot of deep cuts. I've got some B.B. King that's pretty awesome. There's Eric Clapton that's really good. There's a lot of good music out there for Christmas, and I encourage people, don't just get sucked into just hearing, what you hear in the stores everywhere. Go look for something. Yes, I understand Bing Crosby's White Christmas is a great song, but go look for something else. Go check out. Stray Cats doing Blue Christmas. Oh man,
there is a lot. I mean, I guess what would land on that list? You said Bing Crosby's White Christmas, of course. Brenda Lee's Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, which has not. I mean, I heard an interview with her a few days ago. Of course, that song has gone number one the last 2 weeks. First time it's ever been number one. And she did an interview here recently. Said when she first recorded that song, it was never a big hit until what movie? Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Until it was featured in Home Alone is when it really started to pick up a lot of traction, and now it's been number one on the Billboard chart the last 2 weeks, which is amazing considering how long that song has been out.
Well, one of my favorite Christmas songs that I love hearing every year and don't get to hear it very often unless I play it. But Bing Crosby did a duet with David Bowie doing Little Drummer Boy.
Oh.
It's pretty cool.
Good stuff.
Love it. And David didn't want to do the regular thing, so he had his own mixture that he brought to it. And it was pretty interesting to see somebody at the height of his popularity, Bing Crosby, with this young upstart, David Bowie coming in.
Yeah.
Completely different styles, completely different people, and yet for one moment on television, you got this snapshot of these two greats together.
Unreal.
Pretty neat. That stuff is good to find.
Absolutely. 20 minutes away from the 8 o'clock hour here on Mornings in Meridian, 485-9191. And if you want to start your Friday with a fantastic breakfast, or if you just want to go back in there for lunch again, well, the place to go is right off of exit 150 here in Meridian. One of my personal favorites. I love the staff down there, too. That is the Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop. And, folks, it is Friday, and that means one thing. It is Fish Friday.
It is Fish Friday. You get some fried catfish fillets, but you can also go Cajun and get you some red beans and rice and sausage. You can get hamburger steak anytime, I'm sure. Fried chicken, fried pork chops, grilled pork. They'll even do healthy grilled pork chops for you. Look, here's the thing. I eat there myself. I'm like you. I love getting the chance to go to the truck stop, and man, the food is awesome, and it's always fresh. It's always cooked just to order, just like you like it, and the service is phenomenal. I just can't say enough good about it. It's a clean, nice place to take your family and sit down and have a family meal. And this time of year when everybody's running like crazy and doing stuff, it'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
A group savings in your life to, hey, treat everybody, go out there. And it doesn't cost a lot.
Let mama take a day off from the kitchen.
Well, now, there might be a guy that you want to take off, from the kitchen, too.
Listen to him.
I know. But the point is that it doesn't have to be this huge, elaborate, costly affair. They have great meals. Family can walk out of there stuffed, and it's not going to empty your wallet. So go see the folks at the Magnolia Restaurant in the Queen City Truck Stop. You know exactly where they're located, and they're easy to find. If you know where the airport is, you're halfway there.
I know one thing during football season when I would have a home football game, you call a ball game, you're up in the booth for hours doing all of that, and you just get a little hungry afterwards. I would always swing by there on a Friday night, and boy, you're going to see just about everybody in there on a Friday night after football during the season. So, but yeah, you're going to see somebody in there having some lunch or some breakfast down there.
Yeah, so go check it out. at the Queen City truck stop. Just walk in the door and you'll smell where the food's at. I promise you, you'll get a good meal and a good price. And they're there 24/7. I mean, pretty much. Are they going to close for Christmas?
No. Heck no.
I didn't think so.
Like I said, save some time and do that for your meal there for Christmas.
Speaking of restaurants on Christmas, do you remember the Christmas Story?
Yes.
Where they ended up at the Chinese restaurant and
That's
one of the funniest. That was one of the funniest scenes in that movie. But there's a story behind that scene.
It's smiling at me.
Yeah, but there was a scene in. A lot of that was improv, and if you watch the woman that's playing the mom,
she's losing it the whole time.
She's losing it the whole time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's pure gold.
Yeah, it's one of the best clips on TV. If you get the chance to catch that one.
Yeah, we got that's always on our Christmas Eve movie watching list is the Christmas Story. So,
well, I know it's trite, but my favorite Christmas movie has always been It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah,
I know
classic,
people get bored with it. It's a classic, but there's a scene in there that's like that. There was a scene with Jimmy Stewart is actually in the bar after he's praying at the bar, and if you notice the texture of the film is odd. It's it's out of focus. It's not 100% like the rest of the film, right? And it turns out that was actually a rehearsal they were doing, and Jimmy got lost in the moment and genuinely cried. I mean, he lost it. And Capra said, "Yeah, no, we're taking that cut. We're
going to leave that in there.
We're leaving that one in there.
Yeah, perfect.
So when you see that moment, you know that was a real moment they got, and they preserved that forever.
Fantastic.
So there's a lot of those neat little things. And if you're going to watch Home Alone, you got to look for Donald.
Yeah, that's in the sequel. Yeah,
the sequel. You got to look for Donald in that. And of course, the debate rages on as to whether Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and there's no doubt in my mind
Don't
it is.
start it.
it is. It is.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that the sequel to that is also a Christmas movie.
It is.
There's,
It is.
He has a really rough time at Christmas time.
Yeah, it's not a good time to be with John McClane during Christmas. So.
I got to tell you, it's sad what Bruce Willis is going through right now.
I was thinking about that the other day because I haven't watched Die Hard yet for this Christmas because I kind of do that on my own. My wife's like, that's your thing.
Right.
And I thought about that the other day before I watched. I was like, to see what he's going through now and to go back and watch some of the old movies, it's like, man, I just can't believe that's happening to him.
It's hard to watch, but our prayers are with him and his family. But we have the moments on film.
He's a good dude too.
We get to revisit, and he was a great actor.
Absolutely. 485-9191 is our number here on Mornings of Meridian. I want to go back into a story we talked about yesterday, Paul. I know you listened to the program yesterday, and you chimed in yesterday. We were talking about building our fantasy league for the Meridian Politics. But going back to the story that WTOK mentioned back on Wednesday. When they sat down with the mayor and referenced the grand jury report. And we kind of went through that. And just to kind of get your thoughts on the grand jury report, because we haven't had you on the show since that was released several weeks ago. But cameras, and more cameras.
Yeah, well, when I saw that report come out, I read the report
and
I went, okay, so my first thought was I thought grand juries was when they decided whether to indict somebody.
I know, now it's turned into something different, hasn't it?
and I get this grand jury report, and I thought, wait, that's not. How did we get on that topic?
That's a little the indictments. That's a little small sliver at the top. Everything else is the good stuff.
I know, but I mean, they were in session for 5 days, examined 29 witnesses, and returned 188 true bills of indictment.
Yeah.
Okay. How'd they get off topic?
What happened?
I mean, is this normal? I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen a grand jury come out with a report, a scathing report about.
Well, it's not the first time. I mean, we've had the last several grand jury reports have been very unfavorable toward the Meridian Police Department. So this is not the first time.
Is that because they're having trouble issuing indictments because they don't have the proof? Is that what this is about?
I would assume so.
Okay, well, it wasn't just me then that looked at it and went, what?
I think that's the way you have to look at it for face value. If you're not in the room and you're not in the process, you'd have to assume that's a big part of it. Especially the one thing I will say this, the one thing that I took away from the grand jury report, if you read that section where they talk about needing to archive video footage better,
right,
and they need to keep it on file for a certain amount of time, is that tied to some of those cases with the MPD where they could have had say, camera footage of a crime taking place, but for some reason the video evidence was discarded or somehow got lost in the shuffle, whatever it might happen. So I think that may be a part of what was in that particular part of the report.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question, because it says 188 true bills of indictment and 32 no true bills. Now, does that mean that they said there were 32 that they didn't indict, or is that?
I would assume I'm no law enforcement or legal genius here, but that sounds like to me that those were ones they probably just didn't have enough to move ahead with.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering is if the ones they could not return an indictment on were directly related to
Meridian Police.
Why would they make this statement unless there was something directly that affected what they were doing?
Yeah, but the part that I got a little, I wouldn't say heat. Well, I'll say heated. Got a little hot under the collar yesterday about was the very last portion of that Meridian Police Department paragraph is about the budget and that the city council and the mayor need to work together to provide an adequate budget for the Meridian Police Department. The funding, I guess you would say, because funding was used a lot in that particular section. But that was one part.
But why would they not have adequate funding since they're not running a full load of employees, but the budget is still set where it was?
Because it was 9.6 last year, 9.6 million last year.
So, but they haven't reduced that, even though they don't have the same number of employees.
Bingo.
So. It was just weird. That was my first reaction when I read the thing was, this is the strangest thing I've seen.
And folks, I'll stop right here. I know a lot of folks that listen to this program on a regular basis. You're like, oh my gosh, you're talking about the grand jury report again. Well, it's the first time we've had Paul on the show to talk about it. So
I don't know if anybody had the same reaction as I had, but I just thought it was odd. It was just, when I read it, I was like, what would possess a grand jury to make the kind of broad statements that they made about the Meridian Police Department? Because they didn't pull any punches here. I mean, they were.
Well, I mean, the last handful of grand juries have not pulled any punches on the Meridian Police Department. That report actually right there was a lot nicer compared to some of the ones we've had in the past.
Well, at least it was more businesslike because they were basically treating it like they were, in a boardroom and saying this is what needs to happen. Now the question is there any legal binding on that, or is that just a recommendation?
Well, and if you read the very bottom of the Meridian Police Department section, I want to say there at the bottom it says that the next grand jury, they're recommending that they follow up on that portion right there.
It's funny. It says the grand jury recommends that the next grand jury follow up on the recommendations in this report, which they're basically instructing the next grand jury, hey, you take this up again.
We've given you the ball.
Yeah.
Pick it up and roll with it.
I just have always envisioned the grand jury as one where you went in and you looked at cases and you indicted or you didn't indict. Right? And then you issue a report that says we did. It just was, this was a statement. Different. Yeah, this was just a little bit different than what I was expecting.
Well, you know what? It is men and women here in the area that live in this community that serve on that grand jury. And, well, I guess they're letting the Meridian Police and the city of Meridian and other folks let them know what they think.
Well, the question that I've got is how does the rank and file in the police department feel about this? Do they feel like that they feel like this is criticism or support? That's one of the questions you got.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything in here about drones, but they did talk a lot about other cameras, which surveillance camera I guess would fall into that category. But
cameras, and more cameras.
Well, I got to tell you this: if it's an issue where. And I'm speculating here. I have no evidence
and a lot of what we talked about with this report since it came out a few days ago is some of it's just looking at speculation, looking from the outside in.
I'm looking at this the same way, and I'm sitting here going, something is just telling me that there's something that made them go to this point because they had somebody that was really bad that they could not do anything with because they didn't have some evidence got lost or the whole point about archiving makes you think that somebody had some video evidence that got
do have a comment here on Facebook from our good friend Michelle Griffith Joyner. She said people need to stop avoiding jury duty. I know people are busy, but if everyone avoids it, whoever is left makes those decisions.
Okay,
there you go. So
I don't disagree with that.
Absolutely.
It was just different.
Yeah, it is. Got a phone call on the line. Caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. There's the man of wisdom there.
Now we'll know.
Now we'll know.
Well, it hasn't always been about the Meridian Police Department. I know most people are proud of the sheriff's department, but at the time when they constructed the Lauderdale County Detention Center, the grand jury reviews weren't very favorable. It wasn't about the operation of the facility, it was about the construction of the facility
Right.
and the problems associated with the construction.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
And do you remember what those items, particulars were?
I've slept since then, so
I've slept since then.
I can tell you a few.
well, shoot.
Well, they mentioned inferior metal in the roof that allowed
I do
inmates
remember
to
that.
peel it open and escape.
I do remember that. They actually had an inmate that did that, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 They mentioned faulty sprinkler systems that flooded the jail.
If they had something about the guys flooding the toilets, didn't they? Causing the toilets to flood?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, they have been in this just destructing the property, but and then there was paint that didn't stick on the pods. There was, I think, what they called the HVAC system on the roof that was installed in a way that created noise in the administrative office. There was quite a bit of problems, and the biggest problem was going back to the companies that constructed it, trying to, in light of the early failure and faults within the system, the company that did the work had declared bankruptcy.
Wow.
And to me, the enlightening part of that discussion was that how it happened in such and blind spots in the security system and endangerment to personnel and inmates. It made me think this morning about this because I'm wondering about these new cameras, if they're going to go back and talk about the blind spots on these new city cameras. I don't know. But they took the keys away from Sheriff Gunnis Hill at the time of the construction and wouldn't allow him into the facility to make any kind of observations, and that really showed a rat.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Sure did.
Well, I appreciate you reminding me of that because I'd actually completely forgotten that the grand jury did make comments on that, and I didn't know. Again, like this situation, would the rank and file see that as a validation of their complaints, or would they see that as a criticism, or how do you take that?
Yeah.
And I'm sure administrative folks are not happy about it at all, but it must be important enough if they're willing to take a stand on that to say something about it.
Sure.
There are many blind spots in camera systems.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I'm over 70 now. I've got a few blind spots myself.
Yeah, well, you got any upgrades planned?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay.
And sir, I was going to let you know that I just got a message here a few seconds ago about the detention facility. Sheriff Solly was the sheriff during the construction of the jail, not Mr. Hill. So.
Well, the keys were taken away from somebody that was sheriff. It seemed like it was Gunnis Hill.
Yeah, I was just got a pretty good source there. Just sent that to me. So.
Yeah, and it okay, maybe I'm not 100% obviously on who was the sheriff, but it seemed to be a lot of discussion in the community about who took the keys away and why they took them away, whether they utilized something like safety during the work or what it was. But I believe they did it, and if they didn't, it'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
All righty then.
Good.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
So while I got you, are you in the Christmas spirit yet?
Always.
Always.
All right.
Wow.
So
okay.
I'm going to put that under the yes column. So we're trying to find out when people get into the Christmas spirit because I'm working on it. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, I'm getting some more information here as we go about the jail, sir. And it says here that they moved into the jail July of 1998. Sheriff Solly was elected and took office January 1 of 96. Yeah. That's what I was just sent a few seconds ago. So
Okay. All right.
there we go.
Well, they got some bad stuff in that project, but that happens all along.
Yeah, well, and hopefully when you point these things out, there's some effort to resolve them and move forward. I mean, I haven't heard much about those kind of problems since then, so I assume they got them
rectified
knocked out.
there.
Same thing happened with the police department when they built it in that Kroger building down there. David Watkins didn't finish it. It was turned over. They had a leaky roof that ruined all the ceiling tiles and fixtures, and they sold off part of the parking lot to a bank for a money teller on the steps of the courthouse. I was there for that. We seem not to have a lot of clawback in these projects and whatever they do, resolutions and commitments that are made, and I think that's sad. It could happen if our good stewards were more concerned about the taxpayers and the having to be liable for all of this junk.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Appreciate you out there.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. 601-485-9191 here on Mornings in Meridian. Also, I got another texter writing into the show. I like how people stay interactive on our cells this morning.
It's nice.
Going back to the Meridian Police Department, texter writes in, the city takes an unused police budget and transfer it to other departments for other use.
Okay. I got no answer for that. I'm not an inside man, so I don't know. I will tell you this, talking about all these different things, I did, yesterday going and seeing, congratulating Sheriff Solly on his retirement, was the first time I had a chance to be inside the new complex down there. It's
gorgeous.
The Lauderdale County Government Complex. It's beautiful. We were suitably impressed. It's very well representing our county, and hopefully it will bear lots of fruit for us going forward. But very nice. And while we're on that subject,
real quick,
December 16th, that's tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the flagpole at the complex. They're going to be collecting non-perishable food items that'll all be donated to the Wesley House. So if you've got your donations, or you come get some hot chocolate and spiced apple cider or something, and drop off some stuff and help Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department help those who have some hunger needs this year at Christmas time. So
absolutely,
tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Let's help them out.
Yeah, appreciate Chris Cokel for coming by to talk about that event with us yesterday, and can't say enough about what the Sheriff's Department does. And if there is a little bit of rain, I know they're going to kind of move that to maybe down the way a little bit there at the complex, but just look for folks flagging you in there in case you do swing by. So, because we do have a decent shot of some weather tomorrow. So, but we'll check in with our staff meteorologist coming up on that. Also, your local news, Fox News. We're going to take a big break and go refill our cups, and we'll be back. right, welcome back in. It is Mornings in Meridian, about 11 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour here on the show. You can be a part of it here on this fun Friday, 601-485-9191. You got Rob and Paul Tarver.
Hey, y'all. It's Paul.
Oh, glad to be back in with you on the second hour, the two best hours of local live talk. And before we get too far into this hour, we need to thank our friends down there at 217 22nd Avenue in Meridian, a couple of doors down from the Children's Museum. You know I'm talking about Adam Carmichael and Adam McCree.
You know, we pride ourselves on being transparent here on this radio show. And if you need to be transparent for sure on your windshield, so you need to go down and see our buddies Adam. And that's an extra benefit you don't get at every business. You can walk in and just say, I want to speak to Adam, and one of them
Somebody's gonna
is going to come and talk to you about getting your window repaired. Now, whether it's a peck, a crack, replacement, you name it, they can take care of it for you at A&A Glass. They are the pros, man. As far as I know, they are the best around, and they will take care of any of that. They'll work with your insurance companies. They'll beat any price in the neighborhood. They're trained, well-trained, and very good at what they do. And they are ready for you right now. They're right down there, 2 doors down from the Children's Museum on 22nd Avenue or Sela Ward Boulevard, depending on what sign you're looking at.
Yeah,
right?
which one you're looking at, yeah.
So go down and check them out. Tell them we sent you, and give them a call if you want to check on them. You can go at 601-693-GLASS. That's 601-693-4527. And, let them help you with your windshield before you go on the road, particularly during the holiday season. You want to be as safe as you can, and that's one way to do it. At A&A Glass.
Got a funny story from Florida we're going to get to this morning about the lottery. I'll kind of save that for a little bit later on in the show. But, of course, we mentioned on the show yesterday almost a near tearful press conference outside the Capitol earlier this week with your buddy Hunter Biden, basically ignoring the congressional subpoena there. And I just go by. I got to find the audio. I've got some Biden audio always saved over here on the computer. Most of it's from Pops, but I just wish I could grab that piece of audio that says, "I'm here." I'm like,
You're in the parking lot.
Yeah, you're in the parking lot. You're not there.
You're not actually there, Hunter.
I actually read an analysis of that indicates that he may have slightly put his father in more jeopardy in that press conference because he made a comment that shifted the narrative. At the very beginning of this, Joe Biden had no conversations with Hunter about any business, anywhere, anytime, any place, anything, right?
Right. That's always been said.
It's always been said.
Yep.
And then it shifted that he didn't have any financial involvement or something to the effect there was a middle ground there between having nothing to he didn't actually talk to anybody on behalf of Hunter. That's what it was.
Sure.
Well, Hunter then said in the thing that his father didn't have any financial activities associated with his business. And people are starting to notice that the narrative or the declaration of Joe Biden's innocence has shifted, and they've tweaked that message just a little bit.
Sure.
To no more, never, I don't have any knowledge, to never, I don't have any money involved.
I never inhaled.
Yeah. So you guys made a point yesterday that I thought was interesting. I think Roger was asking the question about, are we at a point where, it's just going to be you get your guy in and he's going to indict the other guy or, whatever, these indictments back and forth.
We're kind of at that point
And
now.
I think you made the point that, here's the thing. If you look at the two processes, which one has more merit? I think we all agree that this whole thing with Trump is ridiculous. And there was a court case ruling just yesterday
I saw
that changes the dynamic because they may not be able to pull off having this trial before the election.
Yeah.
Because they've sent some stuff to the Supreme Court. Trump's attorneys have until, I think, the 20th to respond on that. And it's a jurisdictional question, which could really be an issue.
If that happens, all right, let's just say we always, in the world of politics, sports, anything else, we live in a world of what ifs. I mean, like, who's going to win that ball game? Well, if this happens, this happened. Well, if this happens in an election, all this what if stuff. But in this case right here, if that happens, everybody that's running behind Trump right now that is 30, 40 points behind, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, all these folks.
Right.
Do you just do you let these caucuses play themselves out? Because this process is so confusing to a lot of folks with the legal process with
Right.
Trump. But we've always said you want to stay in this thing because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the legal process.
Well, and here, if you really want to start
Splitting hairs,
spitballing here, let's try this on for size. What if I told you that it was possible to take the blue pill or the red pill? Now, what if I told you? What if I told you that? Think about this for a second. What if at the end of the day they want all this to go away? Because right now they've realized that every time they come at him, he goes up in the polls.
Every time.
They're not stupid. Okay.
I said that the other day. If an indictment does come down in one of these cases, let's say, for instance, the New York one. I'll just use that as an example because that's been in the headlines the most lately. Let's say an indictment does come down there. If you did an immediate poll, I'm not talking about a state poll or anything, you grab maybe 5,000 voters. I guarantee you his numbers will go up. If it's just 2 or 3 points or 10, it's going to go up easily. That's just the dynamic of the MAGA movement on that side right now.
Well, I don't even want to call it MAGA. I think general Americans are sitting around going,
you're right on that,
why are they coming after this guy? I mean, if they had something on him, they'd have had him years ago.
Yeah.
If there was something there, but there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And so what happens is every time they come back with another indictment or another idiot DA says, well, let's just throw some more charges in. And you watch the polls, and every single time it's happened, every single time he went up in the polls, what if in the back rooms of the Democratic Party, somebody went,
we need to let this go.
We need to let this go.
Yeah.
This is not helping our cause.
Yeah.
And Joe's not helping our cause.
No.
I mean, we're going to ride this horse into the ditch if we keep doing what we're doing. I guarantee you somebody's made that comment.
And the whole New York deal is just a media circus anyway, because the district attorney up there who filed all these charges, she's not actually trying the case, but she's in that courtroom every day because there's cameras there, and it's like, here I am. And basically, she ran on one big platform, and what was that platform?
Getting Trump.
Getting Trump.
But this judge who made this decision yesterday is not a Trump judge. This is somebody who's on the other side.
You mean to tell me there's some what?
I'm just telling you that you're not going to hear a lot about it because this is kind of hush-hush stuff. This is not something that the New York Times is going to write a lot of stories about.
No.
But it just seems weird to me that right before Christmas time, they have a sudden need to go to the Supreme Court to get some decisions about jurisdictional questions. Are we fixing to see a Christmas gift in the sense of this is just going to go under the table or be postponed until after the election? Nothing happens in a vacuum when it comes to politics.
And I said this last week when we talked about Trump and Biden. It's amazing. You look at all what's going on with Trump right now, and then you look at the potential, I say potential, person that's going to run on the Democratic side in Joe Biden, because you just never know what's going to happen on that end with his cognitive decline.
Right.
He's wrapped up in all this other controversy. So these very well could be the two individuals running in the presidential cycle this next year, and all this controversy surrounding him.
Well, Donald Trump Jr. said yesterday, he said, what if I had done what Hunter had done? And I thought, it's an obvious question, but
yeah, it's fair.
Can you imagine if he'd held a press conference in the parking lot and blew off a congressional subpoena?
Well, and I said this yesterday. I know we got a caller on the line here, but I said this yesterday. The way they did that strategically, the camera placement with the Capitol in the background, I mean, it was just theater beyond theater the other day. So let's go to the phone line. Caller, thanks for holding. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Jim.
Hey, my man.
Hey, I'm a couple of things. I'm gonna check your memory. Can you recall when Mr. Schumer, Chuckyboy Schumer, stood on them steps and said, what's it, Gorsuch and what other Supreme Court name?
Yeah, it was Gorsuch and what's the young lady's name that was? Yeah,
no, the guy.
Yeah, the first one. I'll look that up for you in a second.
Trying to get him
Kavanaugh.
This senator literally stood on those steps and said, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, if you vote like this, all hell's gonna break loose on you. I mean, he literally threatened these people. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had Miss Loudmouth Maxine Waters, and by the way, I'm an African American, so don't call them discrimination. Loudmouth Maxine Waters said, "You get in their face wherever they at, and you tell them they don't belong in this country." Nothing. They didn't silence her anything. You know, it just
Right.
and you can tell it's like a two-tiered justice.
Well,
And
I think that's what people are frustrated with right now. Because if you and I had said something like that, you know what I'm saying? They'd have come after us and shut us down. But
and by the way, I do have the Schumer audio that just pulled up, and I'm going to play that here in just a minute.
Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, if you want to talk about January 6th, all Trump did was use his First Amendment right to argue that maybe something wasn't right. Okay, I've got a copy of the exact words he gave on that speech, and none of it was an incitement in any way, shape, or form. Could not be interpreted that way by anybody with half a brain.
Don't you know the facts always get in the way of a even better story? Yeah.
Well, let's think about that whole impeachment thing. There were not a lot of facts in that whole thing. They made that whole thing up,
and then they put it on prime time to make it a big theater spectacular.
And then you got the FBI clearing Hillary Clinton when there was clear evidence of mismanagement in what she did as a State Department.
Yeah, clear. It was clearly, and then the other thing Schumer said and nobody investigated, I want to know today is, well, how can he stand up there and say, if you mess with the CIA and everybody else, they can come after you 7 ways to Sunday? Okay, where do you get that from? That needs to be investigated. We say that. What if you have that never was investigated? You know, it's like if any Republicans would have said the stuff that he said, they would have been investigated on.
To paraphrase Hazmat, Democrats get a free pass.
Referencing that, I love it.
And you know what it is? They have set this system up, and it's something that they've been working on. I guess you could say silently or the back door, or whatever, with all these crooked judges. These judges is crooked. Now they're crooked judges. That y'all are going along with all this crazy stuff, and I know y'all listen to us down here in the Magnolia State. Y'all are doing some crooked stuff, and you're going to have to answer to the Judge of Judges.
Agreed.
And that's the Lord Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Well, but my man, before we let you go, Paul's been asking about Christmas spirit this morning. Are you in the Christmas spirit already?
Well, you know where I am at on Christmas. And one takeaway I have from it, I cannot tie it to the birth of Jesus, but I can say if people want to celebrate Saint Nick, who was a real guy, and give some gifts, yes, right on with it.
There you go. Fantastic. So, all right, my man, appreciate you out there.
Right, y'all have a good one. I'm listening in now. I want to hear that audio.
Yeah, I got it queued up here. I actually got it from CNN, so God knows what this is going to be like.
Oh, yes, blackout.
There you go. Okay. All right, appreciate you. All right, 601-485-9191. He was mentioning Schumer when he was on the steps of the Supreme Court.
Inciting violence against the Supreme Court?
Yeah, this was the CNN report. This was, 3 years ago now? It's hard to believe time's flying. Let's see Mr. Schumer right here. Let's see what we got here. Courtesy of CNN on Mornings in Meridian.
That hurts to say.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Sounds like incitement to me.
You will pay the price.
Pay the price. Huh.
Well,
how about that?
Well, and like
now that's you should take that and do a comparison with what Trump said, what Schumer said, and Maxine has sort of sandwiched that in between.
Yeah, he mentioned Maxine Waters.
One of these things ain't like the others.
He mentioned Maxine Waters. I mean, she was literally out in the streets with folks, and she had a bullhorn out saying,
I remember that. And people actually did that.
Yeah.
They took her up on it.
Yeah. And incite violence and everything else. So.
No, I think, the one thing that I would think if I were going to wish for anything, it would be that we get back to the fact that the judges judge on the basis of law and not on the basis of their politics. I think we got to get back to a single tier of justice. Everybody's treated the same way. Nobody's above the law, and let's stop all this crazy stuff like putting FBI people in the midst of crowds to incite stuff to cause problems or to hold the doors open and incite people to come inside when they wasn't supposed to.
Isn't that representation in a courtroom? And always sometimes you see it up on near the judge's stand or whatever, or near the jury box or whatever. It's blind justice. with the scales.
No, she's pulled a blindfold down there.
I think the blindfold is gone now.
Yeah, I think it's gone because I don't feel like I live in a country where everybody gets the same treatment under the law, and that's sad. Now I feel that way in my locality. I mean, I don't have any dispute there, but at the national level, I'm talking about.
I'll just use an example for you as far as justice goes. It's been years ago now. I can go ahead and share this, but I served on a jury one time, and we heard the case. It was probably 3 days long, and we get back into the deliberation room, and of course, we haven't discussed the case all week long.
Right.
We're hearing all the testimony, the evidence, and everything, so we've got it all laid out on the table. We've got a foreman. He says, all right, let's vote. And the vote was, pretty much split in a lot of different directions, obviously.
Right.
Some folks were unsure, whatever. And then one lady said, well, I just look at him, I just know he did it. And I'm like, is there anything on that table that tells you evidence-wise that the prosecution has put before you that lets you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, say that individual is guilty?
Right.
And the answer was no. I said, doesn't matter what you think when you look at someone.
Exactly.
It's a matter of what the facts are and what the evidence is on the table. And for some folks, flushing politics and everything else is difficult in today's age, especially in high-profile cases like
absolutely.
that right there.
There's
Especially,
no doubt in my mind.
So when it comes down to a Trump or a Biden, folks, I don't care what you want to say, there is right now in this country 2 different tiers. Bottom line, period, end of paragraph. Not just Trump, Biden. It's
Now, let's tie this up with a bow, which is why when a judge issues a statement yesterday, requesting what she requested, and she's from the other side, it makes me go, And
the reason I say in those 2 instances right there, because if you look at it logically, without wearing any kind of blue color glasses or red color glasses, or if you love the elephant or the donkey, bottom line is when you look at it objectively, it's obvious. It is so darn obvious when you peel apart the evidence.
When you have your main guy, Joe Biden, bragging about
on tape
shutting down an investigation of a company that he received financial benefit from and withholding United States support from Ukraine unless they agree to get rid of the prosecutor.
Fire the prosecutor, son of a bee.
Yeah. So don't tell me that there's not something there.
Yeah, absolutely. 485-9191 is our number. Before we get to our commercial break here, we need to think, I tell you what, we could spend probably the rest of the show talking about Gary Barber and the staff down at Barber and Sons Plumbing.
Well, I was thinking about the fact that I was going to get to do a Barber and Son Plumbing commercial today. I had to work on a toilet in my house last week.
Oh, fun.
And I'm going to tell you what, let me tell you how this worked out. It was on a Sunday when I had to fix this. But because Gary gave me advice to have a couple of pieces on hand that I bought from him, the thing that handles the diaphragm and cuts the water on and off.
Sure.
Gary had already supplied me with what I needed before I needed it.
Bingo.
And I told somebody, I said, well, that's proof positive I'm old because I had the parts for the toilet. What's worse is I had backup parts because I bought 2 of them and I had them on the shelf at home. And that is not something that you run into with the big box stores. Gary made some advice. He said, look, you need to have these on hand. And I got them. And by God, when I needed them, I had them. And that's all a direct result of the advice that I got from Barber & Sons Plumbing, and you can get that advice too. It is very easy. You just go down there and see them, 112326, or give them a call at 601-482-7023. When the water ain't going like you want it to go, Barber & Sons is your best friend, I promise you.
Fantastic. Appreciate you folks down there at Barber & Sons Plumbing. So, got to take a break here on Mornings of Meridian. We'll be back with more of the show after this. 485-9191. You got Rob, you got Paul, and you on this fun Friday.
just my allergies.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Okay, I feel you on the allergy part, but I got to say, Rob, you've listened to that way too much.
Well, when you program one of our sister stations that plays nothing but Christmas music,
I got you.
You kind of learn some of these after a while.
I got you. But
Merry Christmas, folks, and hope you're having a great morning here on this Friday. 601-485-9191. Let's go straight to the phone line. We got a phone call already on hold here. Hey, caller, good morning.
Well, good morning. Merry Christmas to all you fine boys up there in this radio station. Billy Jack on this end.
Billy Jack, we were just talking about you off air a minute ago.
In the break, your ears should have been burning.
Well, they probably were. I've been trying to get on, and I forgot the phone number. Isn't that terrible? No.
Well.
We said Billy Jack's got a simple solution to this border crisis, and I told him what your solution was years ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Chris Kyle figured in greatly in that.
Well, very quickly, I just wanted to make one comment based on what you were talking about prior to the break. Here in Lauderdale County, we do have a problem, and it is political.
Yes, sir.
Because if you'll go back and if you'll get the records, you will see that grand juries have been dismissed without passing any warrant. And it came about because the juries were filled with people who would not prosecute certain other people,
right?
No matter what the evidence looked like,
right?
So yes, we have a problem even in Lauderdale County, and the reason I want to point this out is if you are asked to be on and serve on the grand jury, please do not decline. You may be able to because of age. But unless there is a real reason of sickness or you're going to be out of town, please, folks, it's like voting. The grand jury is what keeps the criminals in line in our county.
Yes,
if you don't issue arrest warrants, they don't get charged, and the grand jury carries that responsibility of looking at the evidence and having the warrants issued so that we can prosecute.
I will say this, Billy Jack, in spite of what we talked about earlier about what the last grand jury had to say about the police department.
Oh, don't get me started.
Well, what I was going to say is that the one line that's important is the fact that they did return this time 188 bills of indictment, which means they did some work.
This time, yes. But I'm just what I'm
but
saying
in the past,
to you,
yeah.
But
if you look in the past, we have had problems. We've had more than one. I know of at least 3 grand juries that had to be dismissed because they would not lift up. They would not endorse any indictments. None.
Right.
Period.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying that at least this last time they got some work done.
But Billy Jack, real quick, in your time of following the grand jury here in these reports, have you ever seen this many consecutive reports where the Meridian Police Department has just been, their feet has been held so to the fire like it has the last few times?
Well, I don't get deep enough into it to see it, but being a policeman today, being an investigator, being anything in the way of crime, I honestly don't see how a man or a woman can commit to that. I hate to say that, but everything about the system is going against them. Everything in the system is against the policeman or the policewoman that's out there fighting on the streets.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Well, other than that, you doing well out there?
Oh, everything's great. I'm working for Mr. Mike Street today. Going to be doing a little traveling and around the state. So, yes, sir. I call on the courts and talk to the folks within the court systems a little bit. So,
okay. Well, good.
Well, can you participate in my poll this morning? Are you in the Christmas spirit yet?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Honest, you start trying. I started trying to get in the spirit right there at Thanksgiving, and it seems as though, like a steamroller, it is mashing everything in its path as it comes forward. and I'm trying to get out of the way of the steamroller so that I can have some jolly Christmas.
Listen. I saw an internet meme the other day that you would appreciate. It had Santa Claus on the back of a longhorn cattle. They called it the Texas Santa, and he was head of a stampede. And I got to tell you, I feel like that right now. I feel like I'm staring him down going, man, it's fixing to come whether I want it or not.
Well, it is right upon us. You know, I think back and just how quickly this year seems to have passed. And, folks, you need to be getting right with the Lord.
Amen.
Time's getting by quickly, and a lot of us are losing a lot of our friends that are the same age or younger.
Yeah.
So you just need to be doing what's demanded of you, you know, and you don't have to.
That's
but
right.
I would advise you to do so.
Absolutely.
Get right.
Well, Billy Jack, my friend, so good to hear from you. If we don't talk to you again before Christmas, hope you and the entire family have a very Merry Christmas this year.
Thank you. The same to y'all.
Merry
y'all
Christmas.
Doing a great job.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Appreciate that. There we go. Billy Jack Etheridge checking in this morning. So, but
Well,
yeah, he
that
mentioned
was nice of him to
absolutely.
give us a compliment.
Well, you know, and it's glad that he brought that up with the grand jury, that there's been some of those in the past
Right.
where there's been nothing that they've been.
Well,
you know,
and I take that. You know, I was not aware of that. Honestly, that's why I kind of felt, you know, like we were doing okay, at least locally. When I see the one that we're just looking at, you know, and they've got 188 indictments returned. But yeah, that would be problematic if you see the grand jury and they don't return any indictments. I mean, what do you do then?
Yeah. And I know a lot of people have been very critical when it comes down to the camera systems. I know that that's been mentioned a lot here lately. Of course, it was mentioned in the work session with the city council earlier this week. And of course, that proposal is still on the table to purchase more cameras. They have body cameras for the police officers and whatnot. You know, folks, we're getting into an age now. Technology is going 1,000 miles of full steam ahead down a locomotive. It is going fast as it can ever go. And you got to keep up with this kind of stuff with technology. And I know boots on the ground, I agree. We got to have folks on the ground doing the job. We got to have policing out in the streets. But as far as the technology goes, you have to have everything in your toolbox to be able to solve the crimes after the fact. Now, as far as preventing the crime, that's a discussion, obviously, that's still on the table, too.
The video helps with that, but it's also a double-edged sword, because if somebody takes the video and takes a clip out of context, then
True.
you've got a situation where the media can cause a problem where there wasn't a problem if you have the complete context of what's going on.
If you got the complete video, right, of what happened.
And that is frustrating. And then, from a technology standpoint, you got to worry. I worry every day about this technology that allows AI to adjust video and say things that weren't said.
Big time.
Listen, you mark my words, we are going to see a case come up soon where there's video evidence of somebody saying something that was altered video, and I'm scared to death of it, because
I always tell folks, I've told my mother before too, when you get a call and I know a lot of folks don't have, you know, landlines at home anymore. Everybody lives off of the cell phone, but some folks still have their house phone and whatnot. But if you get these calls from these folks, you don't recognize the number, even if it's a 601 number, I don't answer it.
Right.
You know, because it very well could be somebody that calls you and you say hello a couple times, they just hang up. Guess what they got? They got your voice. And with this AI technology, they can turn that around and do a lot of very incriminating stuff on your behalf with just your voice alone.
Absolutely.
And that's scary stuff out there, folks. So
that's one of the toughest parts of my job is seeing the potential. It's also one of the hardest things, because I don't wake up every day thinking about how to use technology in a negative way. I think about using it in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised every day at some of the stuff I see.
It's unreal.
I mean, it's just crazy.
This AI stuff is that's going to be one. You know, we always do the year in review here on WALT with Fox and whatnot. That's going to be one of the big stories of the year is AI, and it's not just stopping now; it's going ahead.
Yeah,
so.
I think Pandora's box has been opened, and we're going to see some ramifications from it at some point.
Absolutely.
So
601-485-9191 is our number here on Mornings of Meridian. Let's thank Billy Adam Calvert and the folks down in Marion there at Southern Business Supply, where you can now drive across the Wayman Newell Bridge.
And let me tell you what, it's a nice bridge, too, because I've been on it a bunch of times since it went up, and we are certainly glad to have that as a new feature on the road. And it makes going to Southern Business Supply so much easier. They're at 5685 Dale Drive right there in Marion. It's heart of Marion. You can't miss it. Right across, kind of diagonal from the post office. It's really easy to get there. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Their phone number is 601-485-2447. And look, they've got everything there. They got office furniture. They got home office furniture. They got supplies. Anything you need for your office, water coolers, water supplies, you name it. They got a great staff, and they've been doing it a long time, and the Calverts sure know how to run a business, and they would love for you to come and buy local with them. The money stays right here in Lauderdale County, and give them a call and give them a try. I think you'll be surprised at how well they can meet your office supply needs at Southern Business Supply.
All right, let's go back to the phone line here on Mornings Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning to you. Thanks for holding.
Morning. I wonder why they can't catch these scammers.
Why they can't catch these scammers that do this type of stuff?
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of them don't even live in the United States.
Yeah, a lot of them are not even local, and that's a tough nut to crack for law enforcement sometimes, because a lot of these folks are not local, and they can disguise their numbers and make them local. I mean, the technology is endless right now, what they can do.
I would argue that the vast majority of the unknown numbers you get calls from are not even people in the U.S.
No.
That's bad, really bad, man. But I was going to call to tell you that East Mississippi Community College, they got beat pretty bad.
Yeah, we saw that the other day. They got beat 61-14. I know it was a tough ball game for them, but hey, they made it out there to the national title for the 6th time and had a good season.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, appreciate you out there. Appreciate you listening as always.
Yeah.
All right, 601-485-9191.
I ran into Jimmy Moore.
Yeah.
The day after.
Is he okay?
He was dragging.
Was he?
Well, he'd been on the charter bus all night.
Yeah, because the game was Wednesday, and I imagine he got back
he said it was about 6 a.m. Thursday morning. And he said, I said, well, that ride's a lot easier on a win than it is on a loss. He said, you got it. He said, we keep saying we got it next year. He said, we got whipped.
I watched some of the game the other night. I got home from another ball game I was working. Yeah, shocker, Ball Game City. And I got home it was toward the end of the first quarter, and it was 7-6 East Mississippi because they had returned a 90-plus yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And then Iowa Western went down and scored to make it 13-6 or 13-7 rather. And I'm like, it's early, we'll see what happens. Then all of a sudden, it was just like a snowball was rolling downhill, and it just got bigger and bigger. But they just ran up against a good ball team the other night.
Well, that and I talked to somebody else who had seen it, and they indicated that after there was an initial turnaround and the momentum had shifted. Yeah, it was like it just took the wind out of everybody's sails, and it just fell apart.
Well, I mean, I thought at halftime when it was 27-7, I was like, hey, it's halftime. Junior college football in general, things can turn around quickly.
Very.
But it didn't. It just completely just kept going that direction.
Collapsed.
But hey, they've made 6 appearances in the national championship. That is only their first loss in the national title game. So I think they've had a pretty good record overall.
And I told Jimmy that. I said, it was one game, but I've never seen him that low. He was dragging pretty hard.
Well, we were looking forward to a win because he would have brought us some apple fritters today.
That's true.
Yeah, didn't happen.
Dadgummit.
Now I'm dragging.
I know. There you go. We're going to take a break. We'll wrap up the show after this. Maybe time for another phone call or two at 485-9191. We'll be back. Is this one of those songs that's always on in the store playing for Christmas?
On the music?
On the music.
But you have to sing with this one, whether you speak Spanish or not.
I've always learned one thing in Christmas parades when you play the music, like on the vans that we have out front.
Right.
When this song comes on, everyone sings more to that one. And I'm like, what is he really saying? We don't know. We're just kind of singing along, you know.
Was it Earl Keane that did the Christmas from the Family? Talks about the guy coming in. We didn't know much about him till he sang Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
That's what I'm saying.
I love it.
Well, if you're in a Christmas parade, you ought to be playing songs that people can sing along to. But, my issue is that, and I've told this story before, but, at the end of the day, when I was in high school, I got asked to play Santa in a miniature parade that a guy that I knew, Jackie Thompson, would have in Pearl. And he had a show called Hour of the 50s, and he'd have this van with this U-Haul trailer converted into a sleigh, and I was the Santa sitting in there, and I had to throw 600 pounds of candy out to all the kids, and they'd drive through every street in town. But they had a speaker on the top of this thing, and they were doing, Here Comes Santa Claus, Here Comes Santa. And I got to the point where I can't even listen to that song.
You can't listen to the song anymore?
Because all those, songs from the 50s of the Christmas stuff, it just overwhelms me in such a way that my arm starts hurting and I get cold all of a sudden.
I love it.
And so, I try to find something a little bit different every once in a while.
I love it. That's good stuff. Before we get out of here, we got about five-ish minutes left here on Mornings of Meridian. We need to thank our good friends down at Martin Roofing. I'm a satisfied customer like a lot of folks are here in Meridian, Lauderdale County. And Doug Martin Sr., Doug Martin Jr. can get you squared away with that roof.
Once again, locally owned and operated right here in the state of Mississippi, Martin Roofing has got your house covered. And they take pride in standing behind their work from startup to cleanup. And their cleanup has been one of the things we talk about the most. It seems like on these commercials is people are just surprised and pleased when it's done because their yard is cleaner than it is before they started. They just do a wonderful job. And here's the thing, if they care that much about how they clean up what they do, imagine how much they care about the work they're doing when they're on top of your roof. They would love to come out and give you an estimate. They can handle shingles, metal, rubber, commercial roofing if you have an office that you need a roof on. As I said, we're committed to excellence, and they work with all the insurance companies. They can do inspections, and all you got to do is, once again, you just call and ask for Doug Martin Sr. or Doug Martin Jr., and their phone number is 601-485-5920. They'll be glad to help you. They're a member of the Better Business Bureau, and they're again some of those people that we love talk about that have hearts for service, and they want to help service your roofing needs anytime at Martin Roofing.
Do have an update on the Collinsville Christmas Parade. A lot of folks have been wondering, is the parade still going to happen tomorrow? Because there is a pretty good shot of some rain tomorrow. Now, the last update that I got was last night. As of right now, the Collinsville Christmas Parade is still a go for tomorrow night at the usual time of 5:30. But, of course, they'll just kind of watch the weather as it goes. But if for some reason they have to pull the plug on the parade tomorrow night, if it's not possible to have it tomorrow, the new date will be this Tuesday at 6. So just bear that in mind. And if we get any updates on that, we'll pass along on our ALT social media page there on Facebook. But I know a lot of folks really look forward to the Collinsville Parade. Of course, had the Meridian Parade last night.
Right.
And, of course, we got the canned food drive also tomorrow.
Yeah, don't forget about the holiday food drive for hunger to support the Wesley House, Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department. They're going to be there at the flagpole from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow for you to bring by your non-perishable food items or monetary donations. They'll take that, and they'll hook you up with some hot chocolate and maybe a little baked treat or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's an inexpensive way for you to give back a little at Christmas right there with the Sheriff's Department.
Real quick, before we get out of here, story from Kissimmee, Florida. Someone missed out on millions of dollars. A Florida lottery ticket worth $44 million expired Monday. State lottery officials say that the Florida Lotto Quick Pick ticket was purchased at a gas station in Kissimmee, Florida for the June 14th drawing, and the winning numbers matched. And in Florida, winnings must be claimed within 180 days of the drawing, so no one claimed the $44 million prize.
The only thing you can hope is that person doesn't know they have the ticket.
Exactly. So 80% of the money will go to the Education Enhancement Trust Fund, and 20% will be returned to the lottery pool for future prizes.
Oh, I figured they were buying cameras for their police department.
Oh, I knew you were going to go there. Oh, man.
We could start a GoFundMe.
Hey, but yeah, $44 million.
I can't fathom. Can you imagine waking up and finding out you're the guy that lost the ticket?
Yeah, especially if you had the numbers 9, 13, 15, 46, 51, and 52. $44 million.
That would suck.
That would. Merry Christmas.
By the way, the eyes have it. The people are in the Christmas spirit. It's a 3-to-1. So
yeah. I think a lot of folks are there, I think. So
all right, cool beans.
Glad to know. Paul, I appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thanks for letting me on.
Absolutely. Mixtapes on Monday night, 7 to 9. Gonna have your Christmas show Monday night.
Christmas show Monday night, so be sure to tune in for that.
97.9 The Buzz. So, folks, have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you again on Monday. And as we always say, buy local. See ya.